Hello aspirants, welcome to Current Affairs for Beginners session by La Excellence. This session will help beginners in reading the Hindu newspaper. Let me give you answers for yesterday's questions. The first question is, Drug Controller General of India functions under Ministry of Consumer Affairs. This statement is wrong because this DCGI functions under the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare. So the statement is wrong. And the second one is DCGI is the Central Licensing Authority for Pharmaceuticals, Medical Devices and Food Products. This statement is also wrong because for pharmaceuticals and medical devices, this is the Central Licensing Authority. But for food products, FSAI is the Central Licensing Authority. So the statement is also wrong. And the asked question is select the correct answer. So the answer is D, none. The second question is foreign direct investment in India is regulated by Foreign Exchange Management Act 2000. This is the correct statement. And the second statement is to acquire FDI, the investment should be more than 10% of the company's shares. As this is also the correct statement. If the company's share is around 100 crore, that is 10% of this 10 crore. We call FDI when the investment into company is more than 10 crore. That is 10% of the company shares. So this is also the correct statement and the answer is C, both. And the topics covered under today's core are Generalized System of Preferences, Trade Policy Forum, Section 377, NRC, National Register of Citizens, MSP, Minimum Support Prices, Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Act, Manrega Scheme, National Commission for SCs is a constitutional body. Let us see what it is. Line of control is a military control line. The 9th one is right to privacy. And the 10th one is CAATSA Act, Countering American Adversaries through Sanctions Act. And 11th one is Pradhan Mantri Dhan Yojana, and the 12th one is Chagos Islands, and 13th one is 2+2 dialogue. The first article is Trade Talks Stuck as US presses gas aircraft sales to India. In this article, we have to see what is this generalized system of preferences. We have an international organization called World Trade Organization. This is the only global international organization that is dealing with the rules of trade between nations. That is, if suppose country A, B, these two want to trade with each other, what are the rules? This WTO deals with these rules. And the main goal of this organization is to ensure that trade flows as smoothly, predictably and freely as possible. That is, between two countries, trade should go smoothly and as expected, that is predictably and freely. And this is the main goal of World Trade Organization. And in this World Trade Organization, we have general agreement on tariffs and trade. That is, in this agreement, how both the countries have to trade with each other and what are the level of tariffs they can impose on each other. There will be some rules that is written in this general agreement of trade and tariffs. And now, what is this generalized system of preferences? This is a preferential tariff system which provides for a formal system of exemption from the more general rules of the World Trade Organization. That is, if a country is given this status to other country, then that country is exempted from these general rules of this general agreement or trade and tariff. That is, if suppose US has given this GSP status to India, then that means some of these rules are exempted for India from US. India trade talks with US deadlocked. In this article, we have to discuss the word, what is this Trade Policy Forum? Trade Policy Forum. This is the platform for both the countries, that is India and US, to increase the bilateral trade and investment. Supreme Court ruling today on Section 377. Supreme Court to give verdict on 377 today. This topic comes under GS paper 2, Indian polity. Today, the Supreme Court is going to give the judgment on this Section 377, whether this is constitutionally valid or not. So, this is in news. We have to know what is this Section 377. Section 377 of Indian Penal Code is introduced in 1867 during the British rule of India, and this is modelled on Puggery Act of 1533. What is this Section 377? This criminalizes the sexual activities against the order of nature, and this includes homosexual sex. This section was struck down as unconstitutional by Delhi High Court in 2009, but the Supreme Court has said that is overturned in 2013, saying it as constitutional again, and now today this is the final verdict, and today the Supreme Court ruled unanimously that Section 377 was unconstitutional because this is against the principle or fundamental right of right to privacy. And Supreme Court, in the case of Puttaswamy, that is in Puttaswamy judgment, it said right to privacy is a fundamental right. Court note for new proof to enter NRC. Here we have to see what is this NRC. This topic will also come under GS paper 2, Indian polity. Let us see what is this NRC. National Register of Citizens. This is a register containing names of all the genuine Indian citizens that are residing in Assam. And why this is news? This is going to be updated in Assam to include the persons' names who appear in the NRC 1951 or in any electoral rolls up to the midnight of 1971. That is, now the new NRC contains the people who are in the old NRC 1951 plus people who are in electoral rolls up to 1971 or in any one of the other admissible documents issued up to 1971. That is, NRC 1951, they'll be in the new NRC plus electoral rolls 1971 or any other documents. And on December 2017, the part draft of this new NRC was released, and 30th July this year also the complete draft of NRC was released. That is only complete, but draft was released. But there are some issues. Some 40 lakh people were not there in that draft NRC. So this is the big issue. So how to include them or what are the proofs they can prove to be in this NRC is the issue, and that's why this is in news. Farmers create red tide in Delhi. Here we have to see two words. The first one is minimum support prices MSP, and the second one is Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Act Manrega. The first one is MSP. This topic comes under GS paper 3 Indian economy. What is this MSP? Minimum support prices. If there is fall in the prices after the harvest, then to help the farmers from incurring losses, the government has introduced this MSP scheme. As the name suggests, this is the supporting price given by the government to the farmer. That is, this is the price at which the government purchased the crop from the farmers, whatever the price at that time. With that price, the government will buy from the farmer that crop, and he will give, that is, the government will give that money. That money we call as minimum support price. And who will decide this money? This price was decided by the Cabinet Committee on Economic Affairs based on the recommendations of the Commission for Agricultural Costs and Prices. And the second one is Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Act. This is also even in the name, National Rural Employment Guarantee. This scheme provides employment for 100 days to the unskilled manual work to all the rural households. Rural households employment for 100 days. This is the largest social security scheme, and this topic comes under GS paper 2, social justice. This scheme actually gives rural households the right to work, and this scheme makes obligatory for the state to give them work on demand. Whenever they demand, the state will give 100 days of work, but for unskilled manual work. That is, it will give unskilled manual work, and the works like construction of roads, canals, ponds or wells. That is, through this scheme they will create durable assets. Why this scheme is important? Because this is creating livelihood opportunities for the citizens, and this is setting the minimum wage threshold for low income earners, and it has changed the nature of the rural labor market, and it gave the opportunity for rural households to at least earn some minimum income. What is in a name? Here you have to see what is this National Commission for Scheduled Castes. National Commission for Scheduled Castes. This is a constitutional body, and this was established with a view to provide safeguards against the exploitation of scheduled castes and to promote and protect their social, educational, economic and cultural interests. This commission was given some special provisions in the constitution. And what are the functions of this commission? This commission will investigate and monitor all the matters that are relating to the safeguards of these SCs under the constitution. And this commission will present to the president annually and any times when president asks about the working of these safeguards. What are the safeguards provided and how they are going to work or how they are working. And whenever there is report needed about these safeguards, measures taken or the protection welfare of this scheduled castes, then this commission will give some recommendations. What are the present and what are the further needed recommendations this commission will give, and this commission will inquire into complaints. If there are any complaints like scheduled caste rights are deprived or their safeguards are deprived, in these cases this commission will inquire and it will participate and advise the planning process of socio-economic development of this scheduled class, and it will evaluate the progress of their development under the union or under the state. All for one, one for all. Here in this article we have to see what is this line of control. Line of control is the military control line between Indian and Pakistani controlled parts of the formerly princely state of Jammu and Kashmir. That is, between Indian territory and in Jammu and Kashmir, some Pakistani controlled territory is there. Between these two territories, there is line or boundary, military boundary. This is called as line of control. And before the Simla Agreement in 1972, this is called as ceasefire line. And now after that, after that Simla Agreement, this is redesignated as line of control. And we also have line of actual control. This is the ceasefire line that separates India and China. This is also called as accession and assault on the right to privacy. Here we have to know this right to privacy. 9-judge bench of the Supreme Court has delivered a landmark judgment and unanimously declaring this right to privacy as a fundamental right under Constitution, and they said this right to privacy is an intrinsic right of right to life and personal liberty. That is, this is the Article 21 of Fundamental Right of Part 3. And in this right to life and personal liberty, we have some rights like right to clean environment, right to speedy trial. These are with several judgments. Supreme Court said this is also part of right to life and personal liberty, because right to life and personal liberty, what all comes under life, what all comes under personal liberty. That is, the definition or what can be included in the life and personal liberty, we can't know or we can't decide at a stretch. So whenever there is case or any judgment, then Supreme Court, while hearing the judgment, then this is said this is under right to life and personal liberty. Like that, there are around 21 intrinsic rights that are included in this right to life and personal liberty, and right to privacy is one among them. In Puttaswamy case or Puttaswamy judgment, the Supreme Court said this right to privacy is fundamental right, and it is an intrinsic part of Article 21 of our Indian Constitution. CAATSA, a sticking point. This topic comes under GS paper 2, International Relations. Now let us see what is this CAATSA. Countering America's Adversaries through Sanctions Act. This is a United Nations federal law that imposed the sanctions on Iran, North Korea and Russia. This CAATSA includes sanctions against countries that engage in significant transactions with Russian defense and intelligence sectors. That is, if any country has engaged with Russian defense and intelligence sectors, then this act will impose sanctions on that country. Suppose if country A is trading with this Russian in defense or any intelligence areas, then through this act, US can impose sanctions on that country A. And this CAATSA Act is aimed at every country that has military and energy connections with Russia. And now, why it is important to India? Because India is buying this S-400 air defense systems from Russia. And now, whether US will impose sanctions on India or not is the question. And that's why this is in news. No need to panic on rupee fall. In this article, we have to see what is this Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana scheme. This is a Prime Minister's People's Wealth Scheme, is a government scheme that aims to expand and make affordable access to financial services. What is this financial services? Like, for the most of the persons, they are not having bank accounts. So, to create bank accounts for remittances, credit, insurance and pensions, this scheme was launched. And this scheme can used for creating financial inclusion, and this scheme runs under Department of Financial Services under Ministry of Finance, and under this scheme 1.5 crore bank accounts were opened, and that created financial inclusion. For suppose for so many people there is a problem, that is for old aged people, they are not getting pensions or they have to travel all to the government offices, they have to wait. And for some marginalized sections or some, like for widows there is widow pension, or for children there is separate scheme, or for LPG gas connections they'll be getting subsidies, or for farmers. See, these all people cannot go to the government offices, or there is some corruption in this all these activities. So to avoid all these, if they create bank accounts for all these people, and if government can directly send the benefits to these people, then they can avoid all these corruption related activities. With that aim, this Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana was started in 15th August 2014. And you can study this topic under GS paper 2, Government Policies. India supports Mauritius' claim over Chagos Islands. Here we have to know what is this Chagos Islands. This Chagos archipelago is a group of 7 atolls, and in this 7 atolls there are more than 60 islands that are located in Indian Ocean, and this is about 500 kilometers south of Maldives. Remember these 2 points from geographical perspective, and this topic comes under GS paper 1 geography, because in 2018 prelims they have asked about Barren Islands. The question is, Barren Islands volcano is an active volcano that is located in Indian territory, and the second statement is they have given the Barren Island lies about 140 kilometers east of Great Nicobar. So you can see the similar type. This Chagos Islands are 500 kilometers to the south of Maldives. So they can ask the similar type of statements in prelims. So remember this islands are in Indian Ocean and they are 500 kilometers south of Maldives. 2+2 must address concerns in India-US relations. What is this 2+2 dialogue? This is the term used for the institutionalization of dialogue mechanism between two countries constituting of the key ministers of defense and external affairs. That is, defense ministers and external affairs of two countries will have a dialogue, and this in foreign policy terms called as 2+2 dialogues. And now this 2+2 dialogue is between India and US. Diplomats in both the countries will hope that this mechanism will place the strategic and security interests between the two countries on the center stage. That is, mainly in this dialogue, they will discuss the strategic and security interests. Try to answer today's questions. The first question is, line of control is boundary between India and China. The second option is, the line of actual control is boundary between India and Pakistan. And the second question is, National Citizenship Register pertains to all citizens in India. And the second statement is, Assam Accord did not explicitly mention NRC. Try to answer these questions, and the detailed explanations of these questions will be given in the next core video, and you can download the notes of this core video at www.likes.in/CivilsPrep. Thank you.